day, beautiful people. Excuse me, top of the day. Should have brought my water bottle down here. Darn it. People, I want to share something with y'all. One quick second. What pages we got? Ooh, this is how much we got left, y'all. Before we finish, that's how much we got left. All right, y'all. It is Wednesday, March the 4th, 2020, day 88, and we are reading 1 Samuel 28, 29, and 30. And just for good measure, we're going to go ahead and throw the last chapter of 1 Samuel here, 31. So we read 4 chapters today, and the last chapter is not that long. Betwabu, Trina, Betwabu. Listen, did y'all see my post yesterday with that book by Dean Koontz? And it's been floating around the internet or whatever, but I looked into it and I downloaded it, right? But let me tell you something. First of all, Facebook gets on my entire nerves. Okay, so when you post something, I realized that a little while ago, especially with the last one with the article that I posted about the vitamin C and coronavirus, and how to keep your immune system up. Remember, don't panic, don't freak out when it comes close to your living quarters or to your city, right? Because fear also compromises the immune system. The news is good at informing you, but the news is also good at spreading fear. Fear will lower your immune system. So just be prepared, be informed, make sure you do everything to keep yourself on the up and up. Drink vitamin C, get more in. I posted a post yesterday with like 5 vitamins that will ward off any virus. You can take them all together. You can pick one and take them, but you can take all of those. It's not a lot. I mean, if you taking supplements or whatever, take them. You just want to take one, take it. Keep your immune system up. Eat more fruits and veggies. To this thing. I mean, do it for a lifestyle, but at least do it to this thing pass by. But I wanted to bring up, when you post stuff, if you got certain words in your title, or if they hear you saying certain words in your video, Facebook will pick it up and it'll process it through its little fact checker or security measures or whatever. And now they're starting to put, when you put a post, it'll post this little thing. One of my friends posted in the comments on the book snippet that I posted yesterday, where it comes up false information, and it says it has been found that some of the information in this post has been fact checked and found to be false. That is not true. Some stuff is, but it's not true. And even if you go to Snopes, I don't like Snopes anymore. You can tell Snopes, they've been paid off a long time ago. They just compromise themselves. If you just do a little light research, you can look at references, books, or whatever, which you can tell. You can look at previous medical. I mean, if you're into doing that type of research, reading or whatever, just a little light stuff. And even look at the health community, because they don't push things on the health community, because the health community, those that are going a natural route, they're leaving this matrix, so to speak, and they'll stop buying all the drugs and all this other stuff that keep you sick. It fixes one thing in your body, but kills another thing in your body, right? So Snopes carefully worded its article, and they said, oh, this is false, and Dean Koontz didn't predict the future. He didn't predict the coronavirus and all this stuff. Okay, so if you read that very carefully, you can tell that Snopes is being very careful with its words, and it's focusing in on that prediction word about this book that he wrote in 1981. Okay, so I'm sure when Dean Koontz was writing the book, he wasn't writing a prediction. He was writing a story in his book, and it all flowed together. If you read it in context, yeah. Anybody who writing a story, whatever, somebody say, oh, he predicted the future. No, he wasn't predicting the future. He was writing his story in his book in 1981. It just so happened that what's happening now look like it's the same exact thing that he wrote in his book in 1981. So that's what Snopes is playing on. It's playing on words, and no, this wasn't a prediction. As a matter of fact, it said this is mostly false. So I'm like, you can't trust Snopes. I realized that a couple years ago. You cannot trust Snopes anymore. So if you go in there, and in the book it said, in the story he wrote with what was going on, there was an outbreak that happened, and they was going on explaining, they call it the Wuhan 400. I ain't saying he predicted, but I'm saying, where did this current coronavirus strain start? When did the outbreak start at? In Wuhan, China? It's probably not a coincidence, but what's happening. And then it says that in the book they said in the year 2020 a massive pandemic is going to happen, and people are going to start getting sick all over the globe. The flu symptoms and all this stuff is just going to outbreak, and it's going to spread rapidly. What's happening? What's happening? But then it also says that it's going to go as quickly as it came. Now, here's something that, when I was reading it yesterday, here's something that caught my attention. Now, I've been following Africa and what's been going on there, but there was a couple articles and stuff that saying Africa is not being hit. Now, you may have a couple people from Africa that were in China that may have, I think it was maybe like one person, matter of fact, only one person who got it, but they completely recovered from it. But they were making not so much of a big deal. They were making, I was like, oh, Africa's not even getting hit. The people aren't getting sick. The virus is not even, surviving there. They said it could be the weather, the heat, or it could be the melanin in the skin of the people who live in those countries in Africa. So that was there. I read that article like last week and everything. So when I was reading a snippet in the book, if you read it, it also says that the Wuhan 400 virus in the book, in his story, the Wuhan 400 virus can be killed by extreme heat. So when I read that, what I read last week about Africa completely, I was like, oh, it's the weather. That's why Africa's not being hit. And I started going, I look at the map where everything, the coronavirus was spreading and getting hit. And Africa is pretty much, it's almost just about 100 free and clear of the coronavirus. You may have a couple cases here and there, but they're older than that. It's mostly melanated people that live there, but there are some white people that live there. Now, they didn't show the other couple people that had it, what their nationality was. But they just completely hit me. I'm like, wow, But I just wanted to say that don't panic, y'all. Like I said, fear compromises the immune system, and the media is pushing fear. They're constantly telling you, oh, it's another case here. They didn't test positive. They didn't die. But they're not telling you about the thousands of people who who got it and recovered from it. You can recover from it. So I just want to say that, but prepare, load up on vitamin C, look at them posts and what you can go get and everything. And if you don't believe me, look it up. Go talk to a holistic, or go to a holistic shop or something and talk to them. Talk to somebody that you think is more credible than me, and they will tell you what you can do to keep your immune system up. Yourself, your children. Sea moss will keep your immune system up. So if you know how to make that liquid gel, make that. You can do that alone and keep your immune system high. But okay, I'm done with my rant for today, y'all. Let me go ahead and do this reading, because I know some of y'all got to go to work and I got to get busy on a couple things too. All right, so our reading today is 1 Samuel 28, 29, 30. And like I said, we'll just go ahead and read the last chapter, 31, which is really short. Okay, 1 Samuel chapter 28. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for war to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee a keeper of mine head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all of Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, even his own city. And Saul had put away those who had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. And the wizards out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all of Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. Now when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart was greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of you, who are you? Who would answer him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then Saul said unto his servant, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night and said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits in the wizard side of the land. Wherefore then thou layest a snare for my life to cause me to die? And Saul sware to her by Yahuwah, saying, As Yahuwah liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake unto Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stopped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answered me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called to thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing Yahuwah is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? And Yahuwah hath done to him as he spake by me. For Yahuwah hath rent the kingdom out of thy hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even David. Because thou obeyest not the voice of Yahuwah, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath Yahuwah done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, Yahuwah will also deliver Israel into thine hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow thou and thy son shall be with me. And Yahuwah also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Then Saul fell straightway along on the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel, and there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all day nor all night. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, Behold, thine handmaid have obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in thy hands, and thou hast hearkened unto the words which thou spakest unto me. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto me, thy handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way. But he refused and said, I will not eat. But his servants together with the woman compelled him, and he hearkened unto their voice. So he arose from the earth and sat upon the bed. And the woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hasted and killed it, took flour and kneaded it, and did bake unleavened bread thereof. And she brought it before Saul and before his servants, and they did eat. Then they rose up and went away that night. 1 Samuel chapter 29. Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by a fountain which is in Jezreel. And the lords of the Philistines passed on by hundreds and by thousands, but David and his men passed on in the reward with Achish. Then said the princes of the Philistines, What do these Hebrews hear? And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, Is this not David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, which have been with me these days or these years, and have I found no fault in him since the day he fell unto me this day? And the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him. And the princes of the Philistines said unto him, Make this fellow return, that he may go again unto his place which thou hast appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he be an adversary to us. Wherefore should he be reconciled himself to his master? Should it not be with the heads of these men? Is not this David of whom they sang to one another and danced, saying, Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s? Then Achish called David and said unto him, Surely as Yahuwah liveth, thou hast been upright, and thy going out and thy coming in with me and the host is good in my sight. For I have not found evil in thee since the day of thy coming unto me unto this day. Nevertheless, the lords favor thee not. Wherefore now return, go in peace, that thou displease not the lords of the Philistines. Now David said unto Achish, But what have I done? And what hast thou found in thy servant so long as I have been with thee unto this day, that I may not go to fight against the enemies of my lord the king? And Achish answered and said to David, I know that thou art good in my sight, and as an angel of God. Notwithstanding, the princes of the Philistines have said, Ye shall not go up with us to battle. Wherefore now, rise up early in the morning with thy master's servants that are come with thee, and as soon as ye be up early in the morning and have light, depart. So David and his men rose up early to depart in the morning to return into the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went up to Jezreel. 1 Samuel chapter 30. And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag had smitten Ziklag, and burnt it with fire, and had taken the women captive that were therein, and slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. And David and his men came into the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captive. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's 2 wives were taken captives, Ahinoam and the Jezreelitess, and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in Yahuwah his God. And David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired of Yahuwah, saying, Shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. So David went, he and 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abode behind, which were so faint that they could not go over the brook Besor. And they found an Egyptian in the field, and they brought him to David, and gave him bread, and he did eat, and they made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of cake of figs, and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had not eaten no bread, nor drunk any water 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto him, To whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me, because 3 days agone I fell sick. We made an invasion upon the south of the Cherethites, and upon the coast which belongeth to Judah, upon the south of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. Alicia. And David said unto him, Canst thou bring me down to this company? And he said, Swear unto me by God that thou wilt neither kill me nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this company. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil they had taken out of the land of the Philistines, out of the land of Judah. And David smote them from twilight unto evening the next day. And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives. And there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil, nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. And David took all the flocks and the herds which they drave before those other cattle, and said, This is David's spoil. And David came to the 200 men which were so faint that they could not follow David, whom they had made to abide at the brook Besor. And they went forth to meet David, and to meet the people that were with him. And David came near to the people, and he saluted them. Then answered all the wicked men and the men of Belial, of those that went with David, and said, Because they were not with us, we will not give them aught of the spoil that we have recovered, save to every man his wife and his children, that they may lead them away and depart. And David said, Ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which Yahuwah hath given us, who hath preserved us and delivered that company that came against us into our land. For who will hearken unto you in this matter? But as his part is that goeth down to battle, so shall his part be that tarrieth by the stuff. They shall part alike. And it was so from that day forward. He made it a statute and an ordinance for Israel unto this day. And when David came to Ziklag, he sent of the spoil unto the elders of Judah, even to his friends, saying, Behold, a present for you of the spoil of the enemies of Yahuwah. To them that were in Bethel, and to them that were in South Ramoth, and them that were in Jatir, and to them that were in Ar, and to them which were in Sifmah, and to them which were in Eshtemoa, and to them which were in Rachel, and to them which were in the cities of the Jerahmeelites, and to them which were in the cities of the Canaanites, and to them which were in Hormah, and to them which were in Korashan, and to them which were in Athak, and to them which were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men were wont to hunt. Last chapter for today, last chapter of the book, 1 Samuel chapter 31. It's only like 13 verses, y'all. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan and Abinadab and Melchishua, Saul's sons. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Then said Saul unto his armor-bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through, and abuse me. And his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor-bearer, and all his men that same day together. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side of Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. And it came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head and stripped off his armor, and sent it into the land of the Philistines round about to publish it in the house of their idols and among the people. And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of what the Philistines had done to Saul. All the valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Jabesh and burnt them there. And they took their bones and buried them under a tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. We have finished the book of 1 Samuel, 31 chapters, and we read 28, 29, 30, and 31 today. Tomorrow we start in 2 Samuel, and we will continue on with the story. It is Wednesday, March the 4th, 2020, day 88. All right, people. So with that being said, if you missed what I said about the current virus that's attacking the planet, go back and listen to what I posted at the very beginning of the video. So with that being said, my beautiful people, let's go ahead and get about our day. May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all, and I will see you bright and early in the morning. Peace.